Yeah, it's cooked, guys. It's cooked. The WNBA is officially cooked, man. Sophie Cunningham will probably be going to Project B as well. I can already see the writing on the wall, and these WNBA players.
Sophie Cunningham just dropped a bombshell that confirms what fans have been whispering about for weeks. But here's the kicker. It's not just about a player chasing a bigger paycheck. What she reveals next could shake the WNBA to its core. Seriously, this isn't hype. This might even spark a full league lockout. Here's what most people are missing. These CBA negotiations aren't just about money. The league is pushing something far more controversial. Exclusivity clauses that could completely ban players from participating in Project B. Yeah, you read that right. 7- and 8-figure deals on the line, and players would have to turn them down just to stay in the WNBA. And Sophie, she didn't hold back. She made it crystal clear exactly where she stands. But the real shocker comes in her next interview, where she exposes exactly why the league is sweating bullets right now. This is huge. Fans, analysts, and players alike are going to be talking about this for weeks.
Bell had an interview with one Sophie Cunningham, and she asked her about Project B and some things about the Indiana Fever and things of that nature. And it's very interesting and very telling, some of the things that Caitlin Clark had to say. I said Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham had to say. And
did you catch that? And if you didn't, you're about to. This question is about to shake the very foundation of the WNBA. Here's the kicker. Sophie Cunningham isn't some bench player scraping by on league minimum. She's a cornerstone of the Indiana Fever, the team that just had the most watched WNBA season in history thanks to Caitlin Clark. If Sophie decides to walk away for Project B money, trust me, the dominoes start falling fast. But it gets even crazier behind the scenes. The last time WNBA leadership met with the Players Association was 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, Project B is out here throwing multi-million-dollar offers at players every single day. And the WNBA moving at a snail's pace. Here's the truth. They thought they had leverage, but Sophie's next revelation about the negotiations exposes just how desperate and panicked the league really is.
Made it clear that when it comes to CBA negotiations, things are not progressing at a pace that seems particularly helpful or even appropriate. She noted that her understanding is the last time the WNBA leaders and the WNBPA met was 2 weeks ago, and said, I know our execs are talking with their people every single day. I don't think there's been much movement. I think at least there's communication. So that's the biggest thing for us. But normally we don't have meetings unless something big is happening or if they need to update us on what they're talking about.
I don't think there's been much movement, and that's diplomat speak for we're going nowhere fast. And here's the thing, Sophie isn't alone in feeling this way. Players across the league are watching negotiations drag on while Project B is out here literally writing checks. The psychological pressure is insane. Every day the WNBA stalls, Project B looks even more tempting. Every week without a deal, more players start questioning where their loyalty really lies. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Sophie just dropped a revelation in an interview that completely contradicts what WNBA executives have been saying publicly. The league keeps claiming they're on the brink of a breakthrough, but Sophie's version, it tells a very different story.
Doesn't see a problem with Project B. Cunningham also spoke about Project B in the latest professional women's basketball league that's been announced. Not too many details are available yet about the league, but it was hashed out by a group of investors who initially hoped to create a rival to the NBA. When that didn't work, they turned their attention to the W and women's basketball. For Cunningham, the appeal of the new league is financial. We know Sophie's about the bag. She want her bread. Project B is reportedly offering some players $2 to $3 million salaries to participate in the league from November to April. That's not a short season, though. She said, I don't know much about it. You know, you see stuff on social media, but I know how social media goes, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But, you know, if people are going to be paying you multi-million dollars deals, why would you not?
If people are offering you multi-million dollar deals, why wouldn't you take them? There it is, the question that completely shatters the WNBA's negotiating position. Here's what most people don't get. The league isn't just competing against Project B for talent. They're competing against basic human logic. Sophie wants to buy a house. She's been open about it. This isn't greed or disloyalty. It's about securing her financial future while her market value is at its peak. And yet, the WNBA is asking her to turn down generational wealth just to preserve their exclusivity. Come on, we all know how that story ends, but it gets even crazier. Sophie just exposed a huge contradiction in the WNBA's entire social justice narrative. What she says here flips everything the league has been pushing on its head.
Listen, I've been very clear. If Project B called KTV on the way to Project B. It is what it is. It is what it is. And she's been very clear about where she stands in all of this, and that she's trying to get paid. It's the business. My whole thing is there are some social warriors and advocate warriors who going to Project B has been a complete contradiction of all the things they've been trying to push for in the WNBA and all this other stuff. I wish they would have just said, hey man, we just want to get paid more, and they could stop all of this other foolishness that they've been doing. And just say, hey, it's strictly about the bread. We could respect and understand if it's strictly about the bread, but once y'all all try to be like this activist league and all this other stuff.
Okay, this is the part that's been driving me insane. For years, WNBA players have positioned themselves as this activist league fighting for equality, fair pay, and workers' rights. And you know what? I respect that fight, but now Project B shows up with real money, not promises, not future revenue sharing, actual contracts. And suddenly, all that activism, it takes a backseat. Sophie just said the quiet part out loud. It's about the bread. That's honest. That's real. And it completely shatters the narrative that this was ever about anything other than getting paid. And I'm not even mad about it. Players deserve to maximize their earnings. But let's stop pretending this is some moral crusade. The second a better offer comes along, people jump ship. What blows my mind even more? What Sophie reveals about her future with the Fever. This is where personal drama collides with the hard business reality, and things are about to get messy.
Sophie Cunningham addressed her future with the Fever. Cunningham also admitted that there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the WNBA's 2026 season, which makes it more difficult to know if she can plan to be on the Indiana Fever next year. Like most of the league, Cunningham will be a free agent, and her spot on the team is not guaranteed. There's a lot of uncertainty, like you said, with the CBA, with the money, if we're even going to have a league next year, and then people want to come back. We're trying to keep our core together. The Fever battled through several season-ending injuries, including Cunningham's own. Yeah, this was a season from hell for the Indiana in terms of injuries, man. And put in a strong performance during the WNBA playoffs this season.
There's a lot of uncertainty about whether we'll even have a WNBA next year. Let that sink in. Sophie Cunningham, a cornerstone of the most popular team in league history, doesn't even know if the league will exist. And this isn't speculation. This is a player with insider knowledge confirming what we've all been suspecting. The WNBA is on the brink. Here's what makes this situation absolutely explosive. Sophie wants to stay with Indiana. She wants to play alongside Caitlin Clark. She wants to compete for championships, but she's not willing to sacrifice her financial security to do it. This is classic game theory, playing out in real time. The league thinks it can force players to choose loyalty over money with exclusivity clauses. But Project B just flipped the entire equation. They're offering so much money that the choice becomes obvious. And once Sophie leaves, you better believe Kelsey Mitchell is watching. Aaliyah Boston is watching. Even Caitlin Clark is watching. And here's the part that should terrify WNBA executives. The ripple effect is about to be massive.
Bring back Caitlin Clark, obviously the GOAT, it's her team. You re-sign Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hall. That's our core four, period. That's the core four, the original core four from Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Caitlin, Kelsey, Lexi, Aaliyah. Then after that, you bring back Sophie Cunningham and you bring back Michaela Timpson, and we go from there. I'm open to Ari McDonald coming off the bench. She does not have to. She doesn't have to be here, but I'm open to her coming off the bench. I'm open to a Chloe Bibby return. Those are some things I'm open to, but they don't have to happen. They don't have to be here.
When Sophie talks about bringing back the core, pay attention to what she's really saying. She wants Caitlin, Kelsey, Lexi, Aaliyah, and herself reunited the foundation of a championship team. But here's the problem. Every single one of those players is either a free agent or will be soon. Every single one of them is getting calls from Project B, and every single one of them is doing the exact same math Sophie is doing right now. What's crazy? The WNBA created this problem themselves. They had years to set competitive salaries and structure deals that would keep players happy. Instead, they got comfortable. They assumed loyalty would trump money. They assumed players would sacrifice for the greater good of the league. Now, they're shocked that Sophie Cunningham is openly talking about multi-million-dollar offers from a competitor. This isn't just a negotiation anymore, it's a full-blown crisis. And the real breaking point? It comes when you see exactly what Project B is offering.